Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show, where you'll find health and fitness inspiration, motivation, and information shared in 15-minute episodes. Tune in while getting a move on to make leading and enjoying the benefits of a healthy lifestyle almost too easy. It's the Fit 15. And now your host, Catherine Basu.
Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show. I'm your host, Catherine Basu, and I'm back. I'm back from all my travels to both Europe, where I was in London and Amsterdam, and from the East Coast, where I was over in Connecticut for a few weeks after that trip. So I'm excited to be back, and I'm excited to share that the two individuals I was most paying attention to during my trip to Europe for the London Marathon have completed their mission. Both Meredith Rice, my longtime client, and Dave Bloomquist, who was a recent podcast guest, completed the London Marathon last month. That made for Meredith's first marathon, so I'm very proud of her, and it was such an honor to be able to be there to cheer her on for that first marathon of hers. Super special moment, and highly recommend you check out some of the previous episodes I've done with Meredith to get inspired by her fitness journey, which includes a weight loss journey of 70 pounds and her fitness journey, running journey in particular, which has had her go from having a goal of running a 5K without stopping to now completing her first marathon and several other long distance running events along the way. So super proud of you, Meredith. Congrats. Also proud of Dave Bloomquist, who was on the podcast just a few episodes ago to talk about his journey from couch potato to marathoner at age 50, just 10 years ago, and he has now completed 31 marathons. That includes his race in London, the London Marathon, which also earned him his 6th World Marathon Majors medal. So shout out to both Dave and Meredith for their accomplishments in London. I can't wait to see what both of them do next. And I encourage you, if you have not already, to go and donate to one or both of their fundraisers. You can learn more about those by checking out the show notes. I will link both fundraisers in the show notes for you. And know that both Dave and Meredith would appreciate a donation of any amount to help them celebrate their accomplishments in London and also to give back to the causes that are near and dear to their hearts. And if you're feeling like you're way too low on funds, but you still want to make someone smile today, make sure you pause the episode and go and leave a rating and review for the podcast over on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts. That would make my day, my week, maybe even my month, and will help other people find the podcast and get inspired to get moving. So greatly appreciate you for doing that, in addition to sharing your monetary support by being a part of those fundraisers for both Dave and Meredith, to congratulate them for a job well done. Now, from London, I did take a side trip to Connecticut, which is my home state and why I was visiting Connecticut, and also where today's guest is the race director of a triathlon series, the Winding Trails Triathlon Series. My guest is Jimena Dolzadelli. Jimena is an Argentinian two-time Olympian in mountain biking, mother of twin boys, and outdoor lover, in addition to being the race director of that triathlon series, which gets people out in nature week after week for 10 weeks total in the summer in Connecticut at Winding Trails in Farmington, Connecticut. I'm so excited to have you learn more about this great series and get some tips for biking from Jimena, the Olympian herself. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you as my guest today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Catherine. Excited to be here.
So I could talk to you all day, I think, because in addition to putting on the Winding Trails Triathlon Series, you're also a two-time Olympian, which is amazing. So Pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about bikes and we can be here all day. It's going to be a long podcast for sure.
Oh goodness. Well, so could you tell us then, since we'll try to focus our efforts on that triathlon series, what is the Winding Trails Triathlon Series, just for people who haven't heard of it before?
Yeah, Winding Trails Triathlon Series is obviously a series of 10 races. They are triathlons. They are off-road triathlons, which means, we swim in a lake, we bike on trails, and we run on trails. And it's all 100% of the event happens inside our park in Winding Trails in Farmington. And although this is a non-profit member-based park, this event is open to everyone. So you don't need to be a member to participate. We have different lengths of events. Let's start with the longest one. It's a sprint distance. It's roughly an hour and a half race. And that one, we get athletes from 10 years old to 10 to 15 years old are the youngest, up to 60 plus racers. This race is, the distances on this race is 400 yards swim on the lake, then mountain biking for 5 miles, and then a 5K run. And like I said before, all those happen in beautiful trails. So if you love being connected to nature and not having to deal with cars and that kind of stuff, this is the perfect race for you. If you are not as fit or as interested in racing for the long, we have a shorter race where we get also people all ages, kids that they're doing with their parents, kids that are new to the sport, even adults that are new to the sport, even if they are, in the way of losing weight or getting fitter. We have the Tiny Trail Triathlon, and this one is 200 yards swim, then a mountain bike ride for 5K, which happens to be the same loop as the sprint racers run.
Hi friends, it's Catherine, and that sound is your halfway point reminder. If you are using the episode to get in an out and back walk and only have 15 minutes, you will want to turn around now. All right, back to Jimena.
And then the run for the Tiny Trail triathlon is only 1 mile. So it's roughly a half an hour to 45-minute race, depending on your fitness.
Oh, nice. And that's not just for the kids. Even the adults like me who are afraid to do a full triathlon could try it out.
Absolutely. And we encourage people not to start with a sprint. If you haven't been in a mountain bike for a long time or ever for that matter, the bike course on the Tiny race is much friendly for beginners. It's a lot wider trails. And it's not as much twisting, single track, and roots and rocks. It's very smooth off-road riding. So that's why we encourage people to start with that and work their way up to graduate to the sprint distance.
Oh, that's super cool. Well, I can definitely attest to the fact that Winding Trails is beautiful because I grew up going there in the summers, and I was always more of a runner, so I'd be out there running around, and then in the winter doing the trails more as a cross-country skier, but it's absolutely beautiful, really wooded. You're not going to be out in the heat.
No, absolutely. And, we take care of our athletes. We have hydration stations in the super humid, hot days. We put one out there in the middle of the run. And, we are always going to be watching out for you. And we also have kids only races, which this one is the cutest little thing, from kids from 5 to 10 years old, and we have 5 to 7 and 8 to 10 racing in 2 separate categories. And these races for the kids only it happens 3 out of the 10 weeks that we have our series, and this race happens all by the waterfront. They don't even go across the road if you know Winding Trail. And this is the cutest little thing. We give them 2 races for the kids to practice, and then we tell them the last one is the final, where we give prizes and awards and so on. And, you have to see these kids preparing their transition area and going to the start and, fixing their goggles and making sure it's the right place. It's awesome. We put in body marks. There are a big number on their shoulder. We make them feel real triathletes, because that's what we want them to do. We want them to learn and eventually graduate to tiny and then to the sprint distances.
No, that's awesome. That's super cool. So really it's an event for the whole family then.
Absolutely. Now we have kids that they bring their parents, and then the parents are interested in doing the adult or the older people triathlon. And so they eventually, the Tuesday night is being taken over by our triathlon. And this is our 19th season doing this. So some people have been doing it forever.
Yeah, you're telling me before we had chatted that last year's overall winner had started out doing the kids-only triathlons, right?
That's right. Yes, exactly. So Mick Hines was the overall winner of last year, because every race they accumulate points according to their time. And so we do give at the last race an award ceremony, and first, second, and third for each age category, and also first, second, and third for the overall, those who have been the fastest throughout the season. And so, he has started. He's a perfect poster boy for the Winding Trails Triathlon Series, because he started as a little toddler pretty much in the kids triathlon. So, and now he won the sprint.
That's super cool. Very cool. Very, very, that must be really fun for you how long have you been the race director? Were you able to see him, for many of those years, or?
No, not really, because I started first doing these races, competing at them for a couple of years, and then I became a volunteer, and then the past race director, Sharon, she retired, so then I took over 3 years ago. So this is going to be my 4th year, 4th year. So this is going to be my 4th year doing this. But I've been around these races for as long as my kids have been around, and they are going to be 12. So, but I don't remember seeing Mick racing as a kid. No, I don't.
That's funny. Well, that's really cool. It's a really special story, and really cool that you've been able to be involved in it from different angles too, right? Not having your kids participating yourself, and then being the race director is pretty special.
Yeah, no, it is. Winding Trails has been an awesome place for our family, and our kids are having a blast every time they go there. They go to summer camp there as well, participate in our races, or if they are not racing, you're going to see them volunteering. So it's a great place for kids to grow up and learn how to give, learn how to be better, create a better community for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Now, when does the series start? You said it's 10 weeks. Is it 1 week after the next, or?
So the series starts officially. The first race is on June 11th. Mm-hmm. But the week prior, June 4th, we have what we call our demo day. And demo day is where we give a chance to everybody to come. They don't have to pay. They come for free to practice in all the courses. We have some swim clinics. We have some demos coming in. Trek Bicycle Newington will have some bicycles for people to test. Fleet Feet will be there with demoing also Hoka. Hoka 11 will be there, or I should say Hoka One will be there with shoes for people to test. And Select Physical Therapy will be there, and they're one of our sponsors as well. All these brands that I'm mentioning, they're committed sponsors for the season. And so everybody comes and check out the courses to feel a little more comfortable with, especially the swim. That's the one that we put more emphasis on giving a professional clinic. And then people to go check out the courses, either running or riding, whichever they prefer, or both.
Super cool. Yeah. No, it's cool.
So so demo day is June 4th from 5 to 7:30. They don't have to pay. They just come in, sign a waiver, and participate in whichever, as much or as little as they want.
That's awesome. I love that idea, to be able to test it out a little bit in advance and get to learn about different gear and everything too. I mean, do you have any tips since you have that past as a professional mountain biker there, as an athlete? Do you have any tips for us, for those of us who aren't really off-road bikers?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, definitely pre-riding is huge. You need to measure your effort, and you can only measure your effort by knowing the course, knowing what is coming, preparing for, the uphills, preparing for a flat section. Where is the single track and where is an open track where you can make a move if you need to pass? All those are very important aspects of mountain biking in general. Never mind a triathlon where you are trying to catch someone with people of other categories, other age groups that are in between you guys. So there's other dynamics playing a part on a triathlon race. But also being on the bicycle, being not so much as a super power force on those pedals. Mountain biking is all about efficiency. So you will be wasting so much energy trying to power through everything. And sometimes you just have to ease on those pedals and feel the terrain underneath your tires. Your tires become your feet, your connection to the ground. So if you don't have that connection, that sense of connection with the ground, it's going to be very hard to maintain traction when it's loose, or trying to have the correct cadence when you are trying to save your legs for the run.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I've only done a little short duathlon once, and I was definitely felt the difference between biking and going for a run. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure your second run was completely different after a hard ride. Yeah, your legs feel like noodles. We call it, like, rubber bands, and you need to practice that. That is actually another of the huge tips that we give to people. Practice that transition between a bike and run. So every time you go riding your bike, when you finish, instead of calling it a day, put your bike away, have your running shoes ready, put them on right away, and then go for even a short little run, which is the first 10 minutes is when your legs feel like two bricks. So that's when you want to accustom your body. Your body is a perfect machine that adapts to everything. So the more you do it, the more efficient you will be, and the less painful will be. The less pain that you have, the faster you go. So it's just a matter of people to practice what they are going to be encountering during the races.
Sure. No, I love that. Great tips. Well, I appreciate you sharing those with us, for sure.
Yeah, no problem.
So you have the triathlon series. Are there any other events besides that? The clinic sounds awesome, the week before everything officially starts, but anything else that you guys have open to the public over at Winding Trails?
Yeah, actually this coming Thursday, we have a demo run where Fleet Feet will be there with Falcony, just to check out the trails for people who either really into trail running and people who have never done it and want to check it out. So it's really no pressure. No, it's not a timed race. It's just a friendly run for people to come check out running shoes and trail running shoes and running in the trails, giving a few tips on how to keep your legs smooth, what to look for, how to read the trails and safety wise, and you don't want to roll your ankle and stuff like that. So we're going to have that event coming up on Thursday at, I believe it's at 5 p.m. or 5:30. I have it on in our Facebook page, also in Fleet Feet Facebook page. You can find it there as well. And that's one event that is open to the public. So check it out. We just had a mountain bike race couple of weeks ago, the Fat Tire Classic, where 400 to 500 mountain bikers come and participate in a mountain bike race that is part of, a Connecticut series of mountain biking. So you won't see people running on that one, but that one is all the hardcore mountain bikers of the area. So that was pretty fun.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have, after the triathlon series ends at mid-August, the following week, it's always on Tuesday nights, we are going to start, for the second year, we're going to have a trail running series of 5 races, and that's also obviously trail running, and it's going to be all inside Winding Trails, and it's, I think you're going to have a choice of 5K or 10K. So that's going to be our second year doing that. So that was an event that we started last year. Keith Mayer is the race director of that, and super fun. People, know the trails, and people were pumped to continue training and running. So listening to people's feedback, we decided to kind of give it a go, and people loved it. So we're going to go for number 2.
I love it. Well, hopefully I'll be able to be around and maybe check out one of these events, because it sounds, very, very beginner friendly. Like, I've been a runner for a long time, but definitely not the best cyclist or swimmer. So,
well, that is the thing, that's what these races, we have the 2 distances. That's the reason why, to make it a race for everybody. And so come and check it out. If you don't have a mountain bike, Trek Bicycle of Newington will be there with some demos that you can test, and you can call ahead if you want to rent it for the season. But, mandatory, helmets are always mandatory, and, the same rules of triathlon apply in our race. Although we are not a USAT sanctioned event, we still won't allow you to ride your bike inside the transition. We won't allow you to use headphones. All the things that are common sense for safety. We are going to be very closely monitoring those things. But, everybody has a great time, and we get lots of families, lots of hardcore triathletes that come to do our races. A common number, a number that is straight across the board in all of our races, regarding of the weather, we get 120 to 150 racers per night, for Tuesday night. And if we have a good night, we'll go up to 180 to 200. So it's definitely a well-attended event, and it's already our 19th season. So some people have been doing it from the very beginning, and it's pretty cool how to see the progress of new people coming in and learning from the older ones, or the most experienced, I should say.
Yeah, that's true. Awesome. No, so if it does rain, you do still hold the race, so people should know that.
Yes, absolutely. We still hold the race, unless it's when we have some thunder, we will cancel the swim. We have had to do that last year a couple of times. So the race will become a run, swim, run. But we would definitely keep safety is our priority. So we had to cancel last year one event and postpone it because of a bad storm coming through at the time of the race. So we went ahead and, before having to cancel on the spot, we just canceled in a couple of hours before to save people the trip and kept everybody safe at home. So if we need to do that, we will, but we had rarely had to do that in the last 19 years.
Oh yeah, no, safety is definitely important, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I really enjoyed learning about this series, and you're inspiring me to maybe come out and do a first triathlon myself. Any other things you want to share with us, Jimena, before we officially say goodbye?
No, I would say just come check it out. I would like to, on June 4th on demo day, check it out, 5 o'clock, I should say, to 7:30. And then if you go to our Facebook page, you can see all the schedule of things going on that day. Look at under events, so Winding Trails Triathlon Series under events. And then I want to thank our sponsors, our two title sponsors for 2019 are Aetna and Sunto. And, without the support of our sponsors, we could not be anywhere near the kind of event that we are. So we are very thankful of having the sponsors. And then we also have United Technologies as a sponsor for this year, Trek Newington, and Hammer Nutrition, Fleet Feet, Valley Fitness Center, Select Physical Therapy, Benidorm Bikes, and Atlas Sports. They are all the main sponsors, and then we have a bunch of other smaller sponsors that are also as important. So if you go to our Facebook page, you can see the whole list. And perhaps if they are a local business for you, I would encourage you to support the business and thank them for allowing us to have this race.
Yeah, well, it's awesome. It definitely sounds like a really good community event with all the sponsors that you guys have as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to share more about the race series, the triathlon series, and some tips for us new mountain bikers out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to have you there. So if you do stop by on June 4th, please make sure you say hi, and maybe we go for a little ride.
Thanks for listening to the Fit 15. For show notes and more, visit fitarmadillo.com/podcast. See you next time.
Hi friends, it's Catherine, and I wanted to do a few quick housekeeping things here. Jimena mentioned that there was something happening this coming Thursday. That's not true. That already happened. I recorded this interview a few weeks back, but I still encourage you to go and check out the event that's happening on June 4th, 2019 in Farmington, Connecticut at Winding Trails. Can't say enough about Winding Trails as a beautiful outdoor space in Connecticut, and I know you'll be in good hands spending time with Jimena and the rest of the community learning more about the triathlon series. As always, thanks so much for listening to the podcast. I hope you'll subscribe so that I can chat with you tomorrow. And of course, if you didn't get to leave that rating and review earlier, make sure you pause in between your podcast listening and go and do that now. It's greatly appreciated and it helps other people find and get inspired by the show.